All right, guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Occult Bible Study. It's our first live in the new year, so welcome back. I'm so happy to have everyone here again. I am your host, Michaela Rose, owner of Gift From Neptune. Today we're diving into the book of Proverbs, more specifically, Proverbs 31. Um, Proverbs 31 as it relates to being an honorable and godly woman, right? But first, I want to invite you to offer up some form of energetic exchange for this free workshop. Tithing isn't limited to church. It extends to anyone who pours into your spiritual wellness. So, if you find value in our discussions and would like to support and keep this running, my Cash App details are in the chat. If someone can put it in again, it's $ Gift From Neptune. But of course, if you don't have anything to give or, monetary donations aren't feasible for you right now, I completely understand. Just please offer some kind of exchange by sharing the group or, promoting our live Bible study, talking about what you learned, blah, 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 boom, 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 boop, boop, right? Um, so let's get into it. So I have everyone muted, but please, like I said, feel free to put your questions in the chat as they come to you. I'll circle back to them at the end. Um, so yeah, so just a quick overview of the book of Proverbs. This book is a collection of teachings primarily by King Solomon, who was known for his wisdom in ancient Israel. The Proverbs cover a lot of topics, practical advice on wisdom, morality, discipline, relationships, consequences. It's looked at as like a guide to righteous living. Usually considered like a form of instruction for living a moral, godly, fulfilling life. Now, for me, Proverbs 31 is super near and dear to my heart because it was one of the first books of the Bible that I referenced very often, especially as I was, maturing and growing into my womanhood. I'm an astrologer, of course. I connect everything to astrology and maybe blame my seventh house stellium and the fact that I'm Venusian as fuck. But if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I always talk about like since I was a little girl, while everyone wanted to be pop stars and all of that, well, when they grew up, I wanted to be like a wife and a mommy. Now, let's be clear, I'm not saying that I'm looking for a husband, right? But I did want to make sure that when the husband presented to me, I had the skills and the qualities to be a valuable partner, not just a pretty face or not just, some kind of toy or object, but an actual valuable partner to my prospective husband. And Proverbs 31 definitely kind of connected the dots and gave me an outline to follow. Now, in regards to astrology again, Proverbs 31 reminds me of like the planet of Venus, and I talk about Venus a lot because in a man's chart it represents the women he's attracted to, right? But Venus also rules beauty, luxury, value, money, the things that we find pleasure in. And in Proverbs 31 it describes the value of a wife as like rubies. As well as earlier in the book of Proverbs, specifically Proverbs 18, where is it? I have it written down. Proverbs 18:22. It states, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." I'm sure all of us are familiar with that scripture, right? So to me, this emphasizes the value of a good wife as like a prized possession to a divine man. Emphasis on divine man, right? A woman is considered a person of value to the right man, the right partner. Of course, we're going to be speaking from a heteronormative perspective, and I'm a woman, so I'm going to be speaking from a woman's perspective. But I believe that this scripture can apply to anyone. How to be godly, or even if you are looking for a spouse, maybe what to look for in a spouse, right? So that to me aligns very much with the teachings of Venus. So I'm gonna read Proverbs 31, but I'm gonna start at 31:10, because that's the specific section of virtuous wife. Now, I'm using the New King James version. That's the version I tend to stick to. But please feel free to read whatever version resonates the most with you. So we're gonna go kind of like line by line or relative. So Proverbs 10:11 Well, 10 through 12. Let's see. Who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies. Like I said, the connection of Venus. The heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. So again, this connects back to Venus, like I said, portraying the value of a virtuous woman, someone who is precious and comparable to rubies. Um, Now, what actually makes her valuable? Let's keep reading. She seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion of her maidservants, a portion for her maidservants, I'm sorry. She considers a field and buys it. From her profit, she plants a vineyard. She girds her strength with she gild sorry. She girds herself with strength and strengthens her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good and her lamp does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff and her hand holds the spindle. Now, to me, these verses specifically teach about being a valuable helpmate in the home. You know, while gender roles are definitely blurred today, the point remains like have life skills that add value to your home. And I always talk about like, I don't know if you guys know, but I used to frequent the Nation of Islam mosque. My mom was one of those people that had me very open to different religious backgrounds. And one of the things that I love the most about the Nation of Islam mosque specifically is that, you know, when they would separate us from the men, they actually taught us life skills. Like they would teach us how to sew in different patterns, what pattern goes with specific you know, specific kinds of holes or patches or whatever, right? They taught us how to pick good eggs from bad eggs, you know, blah, 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 right? And, you know, I think that I always thought that was very beautiful because a lot of times in the context of like religion or how to be a good woman or blah, 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 it's taught like, oh, you're supposed to serve, but it's like, no, you're supposed to add value to the household. And when I say household, I mean like in a figurative sense, right? You don't necessarily have to be in the same household to be well, we're talking about a husband and wife here, but you know, in a relationship, you don't necessarily have to be in the same household to provide value. You just show that you have the capability to assist, you know, in the midst of a crisis or, you know, in the midst of whatever happens, you know, without the assistance of tech or whatever else, these other tools that we have, what can you do? What can you bring to the table? I mean, we hate that question, but it's a valuable question, right? And it can even be as simple as like what herbs grow in your area that you can use to help cure a cold? Like what do you have any um personal recipes that you can provide to your family that has helped you, you know, that has been in your family for generations or something like a concoction that you can brew up, you know, to help aid in the midst of sickness, you know, things like that. It's just an example. But yeah, let's continue. Where was I? She extends her hands to the poor. Yes, she reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household is clothed with scarlet. She makes tapestry for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits amongst the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them, and supplies sashes for the merchants. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in the time to come. Get a sip of water because my mouth be dry. Okay, so of course, we see how she's able to give to the world. She's gracious, right? But this also talks about how she not only clothes herself, but clothes her family. And if you guys have been on my Glamour Magic Lives, I always say this phrase, you are the literal representation of the well-being of your kingdom. My Leo moon mama taught me that, like, look like you want to be here, you know? And so how you present yourself to the world and those associated with you to the world are a representation of status and honor. We all hear about pretty privilege. We all gravitate towards things that, or people that look like they're somebody. So always look like you're somebody when you walk out the house. Look like you wanted to be here. You put effort into your public appearance, right? Make sure you're presenting yourself in the best way that you can. Um, let's continue. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of the household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. So those two, highlight the wisdom of her words. And what I really find interesting about Proverbs is that wisdom itself is always given feminine pronouns. And I was like, why is that? We know that women are usually the ones that have a deeper connection to spirit, to source, to God. And even down to in Genesis when Eve ate the apple, right? Or whatever the fruit was, the forbidden fruit. She was the one that wanted that deeper knowledge, that deeper insight, that deeper connection to spirit, to God. She ended up finding out too much for her. But the point still remains that we're always still like we're the deepest, we're the ones who are most connected to wisdom. And so I just found it interesting that they always gave wisdom feminine pronouns in the Bible. But it also represents her discipline in managing her time, right? Because she doesn't we always hear the term idle time is the devil's playground. She makes sure that she's disciplined in her approach to the world and her approach to maintaining her household. She fills her time accordingly. And now that doesn't mean like working 24/7, right? But making yourself productive. And then just to close out, her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Charm is deceitful and beauty is passing, but a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands and let her own works praise her in the gates. Of course, she's honored and revered by her family. Emphasizing again that beauty and charm are always good. We always go for the prettiest thing and the most charming thing. But that's just an addition to how godly she is and how she carries herself. That's really what seals the deal. The value that she adds to your life is what seals the deal. And even when I talk about glamour magic is only half the way. Like you can be pretty and get into rooms or, get into connections that you like, but can you sustain them with your conversation, with your personality? Do you have the vocabulary, the skills to keep up with the kind of man that you're trying to attract, right? And so, in short, a virtuous woman to me is someone with valuable life skills, kindness, discipline, a generous spirit, and of course keeps God at the center of her life. I wanted to find the definition. I thought I wrote the definition of virtuous down, but pretty much virtuous is just someone who is held to a very high standard. So, that's my little overview. Let's open up the floor. I'm gonna read these chats. Let's see, what questions do you guys have or any insight? Like, how can you guys take the knowledge from Proverbs, right? This discipline, this God-centered woman, someone with useful skills. How can you take that and, do something different in your life to make sure that you're maintaining this Proverbs 31 woman? Girl, you gotta be a thing to get married. You funny. I'm gonna get to you, Erica. I just want to get through this chat first. Leo Moon here, and that explains why my mama said don't walk out the door looking any kind of way. Yeah, listen, Leo is self-expression. That's what it rules. And so a lot of Leo placements, they are very big on how they present themselves. Leo literally rules royalty. So all Leo people are like that. Is it in all or most women to be Proverbs 31? I think it's in all women. I mean, I think it's in all people, you know, um, being disciplined, being helpful, being godly. Those are universal traits. Man and woman can hold those. Sorry, Miranda, it's Proverbs 31:10. That's where I started. The section where it says the virtuous wife. Men get connected better spiritually through the woman. Yeah, absolutely, they do. And I've seen that in my own relationships where, I've been the one encouraging, different aspects. Even my man now, he's like, yo, you help me so much with this astrology shit. Yo, the way that you connect to God, you keep God in the center, everything, it really inspires me to be of service to the world. Right? So we really do add value to their lives. And so, I'm going to specifically talk to the women, but men, listen up too. Like, don't ever underestimate the power that you hold in a relationship. And if you're not being honored and revered in the way that a righteous and divine man is supposed to be honoring you, then you need to take a step back and reassess your relationship. I'm not ever going to tell y'all to leave, right? But take a step back and say, okay, like, how can I be honored more? And maybe we can do another Bible study on like being a good husband. This is the embodiment of a woman's love for God. If you love God properly, the love will transcend time and space, and your marriage will be fruitful, even if there are problems. That energy will allow for recompense. Yes, Shalana, girl, you always on point. Okay. I'm inspired. I definitely need better time management, better balance between work and home. Now, y'all know I love AI. So I'm always tell y'all, like, go get Chat GPT, tell it your goals, and let it make a schedule for you. And you don't have to be so stuck to a routine, right? Because I got a sixth house Uranus. So my routine is always changing. So what works for me, right, is having a to-do list, or even just set things that I do when I wake up and before I go to sleep. I don't start my day without talking to God. I don't give a fuck. I don't care who is talking to me. I don't care who needs attention, what's done. I don't do anything without talking to God. It's nothing that important. It can wait, So there's things like that you can incorporate in your schedule. And when I say talk to God, it may not be prayer. It may be me pulling a card for the day. It may be me journaling, setting intentions, saying affirmations, things like that. But definitely find a way to connect to your version of God. It doesn't necessarily have to be the God of the Bible, but your version of God. That might just be yourself and your higher purpose and your mission in this life and what makes you passionate. Oh, I've never heard when God had a wife. If you can find, maybe I can see if I can find the download somewhere on the internet, and I'll put it in the group if I can find it. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna see if we can put together something for a good husband. But what I will say about that is, they say the hierarchy of a marriage is God, man, woman, children, right? And so the reason that, and this can be a little outdated too, but the reason that we're supposed to revere the man as head of the household is because we're supposed to trust in him that he's making the best decisions in accordance to God. And so a lot of times, even when dating, I wouldn't ask, but I would pay attention to how he talked about God, how he talked about religion. Does he follow religion? He doesn't have to follow religion, but how do you connect to God? What are you answering to? I feel like a man who does not answer to anything outside of himself or higher than himself, outside, like not another human. I don't think we should answer to other humans, but if he's not answering to something or afraid of something outside of himself, higher than himself, then it's like, what are you doing this for? How do you keep yourself in line and in check? Yeah, I got a potty mouth, and that's why your throat chakra is the fuck blocked. No, I'm playing. I'm just playing. First online Zoom for you, a part of my self-care, and I'm so glad I did because this whole Zoom was confirmation. Awesome. Yes, self-care. And this can also count as how you connected to God for the day. I want to know your actions are God-led. Yes. Okay. Now I'm gonna give y'all the chance to unmute yourselves. Hold up. How do I do this? Oh, okay. Let's see. Allow y'all to unmute. Okay. Who was it? Erica, who wanted to speak? Go ahead. Hey, beautiful.
Hello. And I absolutely love, I have a Sagittarius Mercury, so like that's the reason why your fucking throat is shot. I cuss 24/7.
It adds pizzazz and sparkle conversation.
It does. And my mama's a Sagittarius sun, so like we're all hitting that. But no, what really came to me is, and I haven't read Proverbs in a while, but I always loved Proverbs 31 ever since I was growing up. But one of the things that really comes to me and is what I'm feel like I'm reminded to help, especially us as Black women, no, rest is productive.
Yes.
Because that's one thing, like just because they don't have that in there, that's not being, no, it's productive. As a person that just, I got my late diagnosis is neurodivergent, and right now, that's all I'm learning. Like work, myself, then sleep. That's
Mhm.
literally how that works. And I think that's a good reminder for us, because it's like we can't build up our men, our partners. We can't build up anybody if we're not plenishing our cup, filling.
Mhm.
And so that requires rest. And I know that because, generational trauma, we're all going through it. If it's not for the fact that, we were the tough ones, we had to be the breadwinners of our families because our families were broken apart due to colonization. And so it's important now because, and I understand we're not, may not always be where we want to be. We're still might be struggling. Hey, I'm dealing with the same stuff. We're all dealing with the recession. But to remind ourselves, rest is actually best. That's going to help you get those manifestations moving. That's going to help you start pushing that. It's like, okay, I took action. Now I'm going to trust. And that's this whole year for me as one of my top 3 words is trust, being present, and being compassionate, because I've had to take that caretaker role of being strong Black woman, can't do anything, can't press, can't do all that stuff. So I want to make sure that when we're talking about this, that us as Black women understand that we need to rest. And that includes our Black men as well, too. Like rest is not a bad thing. Like
That
my dad is currently, he's 62 and he's in kidney failure and he came from Mississippi. And so and that'll kill you.
the stress of even not sleeping can weigh on your body so heavily from taking on
Exactly.
everybody's burdens. I referenced the 10 of Wands on Facebook the other day. Like it literally feels like you have so much
Mm-hmm.
weight on your back. And even like if you think astrologically, right, the 10th house or Capricorn ruling the top of the sky, a lot of Capricorns feel like they have the weight of the world on their shoulders because of that Saturnian influence, always worried about the future, always worried about work, always worried about status,
Capricorn
always worried about
stellium in the 6th house.
you
So,
are.
yep.
Yeah,
Capricorn, Uranus,
exactly.
Neptune, and North Node.
Oh, gotcha. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
So I'm
You a
trying
boss
to
ass bitch then.
I'm trying to aim to be Denzel Washington. That's what I'm trying to do with my Scorpio Sun, Libra Moon, and Leo Rising. So let's see how this works.
Thank you so much. No, that's totally true. And you know, Kiana, you referenced, you asked me again, what are the ways of talking to God when you first wake up? And rest again is also a way to talk to God. Self-care is a form of connecting to God. Are you not an expression of God? The literal Bible says that we are made in his image. We are gods. We just die like men. There's literally a scripture that says that. And so if you aren't necessarily sure what your concept of God is outside of yourself first, giving honor to yourself is honoring God. Taking the time to rest, taking the time to journal, mind dump your thoughts. I'm a mind dumper. I'm a Virgo rising, so I'm mercurial too. I'm always mind dumping, always journaling, always typing in my notes. And so what I was saying before though was I like to pull cards. It might be prayer. It depends on the day. For me, prayer, talking out loud isn't like a thing for me. I feel better writing letters to God. So I'll start my day with writing, "Dear God, thank you for waking me up another day. Thank you for giving me another chance to get it right." It can be that simple. And before going to sleep, meditation, or even throughout your day, just taking a second and just relieve yourself of the weight of the world. Remind yourself what you're doing this for. We're in the world, we are not of it. And so one of the things that I really like to do as a meditative habit is to turn off my phone and get a coloring book, or draw, doodle, whatever it is that puts my mind in a state of kind of just do my hand is doing something, but my mind is also calm and it's sorting through the day. So those are things that you can do for self-care, or also taking long showers, lighting incense, taking time to put on your body butters, or if you got some oil, some Gift from Neptune, whatever, right? Whatever you feel you need to do to raise your vibration, that's a way for you to connect to God. And y'all know me. I'm always trying to let y'all know y'all already engage with magic. Y'all are already doing the things that you think you have to go to other people for. You don't. That's magic. Pouring into yourself is magic. Let's see what else y'all saying. I got my Jessica said I can't wait to learn exactly what my placements mean. I'm a newbie. I got my course dropping on the 1st. So that's coming for you. Shalana will curse you out, okay?
When you're done, circulating, let me know, girl, because I want, I want to
I saw your
drop.
hand raised. I'm gonna get to you.
I was gonna say, I got something to say, but I'm gonna wait, babe. So
I got
I'll be
you.
talking.
I'm just trying to sort through the comments first. Rest is part of my regimen. Leela said rest is a part of my regimen. I'm seen as lazy until I do the fucking impossible, and people can't understand how. Because I slept for 3 days, now I can run a marathon. No, that's me. And I'm not sure if you guys are interested in like human design, but I'm a projector. I'm a splenic projector. And once I found that out, that made everything make sense to me. I was like, oh, I'm not a lazy bitch. I just need to sleep because I can I can knock stuff out faster after I have a period of rest. I will literally work straight for like 24 hours and then sleep for the rest of the week. And that it just works for me, you know? So find your flow and find your routine. If you guys are into astrology, definitely look at your 6th house as well. That shows your day-to-day routine. Da, 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 da. Enjoying the Sabbath, like Shalana said, yes. Take a day of rest every week. God rest on the 7th day. Why do you think you too good to rest on the 7th day and God rested on the 7th day? Y'all ain't here talking about your placements. I have a question about using this to help get through my Saturn return this year in September. Okay, maybe after Shalana, you can come on the camera and we can talk about it a little bit. Excuse me. Lania says, gotta remember to also pour into yourself as much as you pour into your spouse. Think of yourself as the root. If you are off, your whole foundation is off. Exactly. Exactly. And these are the lessons of the 7th and 8th house as well. And I'm gonna talk about this to the end of the earth. Guys, you are an entity and your husband is an entity. Yes, y'all do merge, but you guys are still 2 separate entities with 2 separate journeys. Do not get so lost in your partner and doing everything for everybody else that you forget to make yourself feel good. And if it take you getting up a little earlier or go to sleep a little later to get some time for yourself, then do that. So what? Journaling is my best friend. Yes, I'm always journaling. I literally self-destruct if I don't journal. uh Sharika, a girl, I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong. I got an envelope and put letters in there. No, that's dope too. I might actually start that. I love speaking to the Loa, my ancestors, my spirit guides, and the gods that I have belief in. Yeah, I do too. I find resonance with a lot of gods of different pantheons, like Dambala and the Haitian voodoo Loa. I call on his wisdom all the time. Santa Muerte, I call on her wisdom all the time. Even down to our community ancestors, which I've been talking a lot lately, who are very much here to help our Black asses in America. Venerate y'all community ancestors, okay? I've been calling on Malcolm X lately, on even a little bit of like Muhammad Ali. Who else? Asada Shakur, like call on these people who help to drive our race forward, because that's what they're going to help us more in America than the Orisha are. You know, they're still valuable. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I pull information from anywhere and wisdom and guidance from everywhere. But don't forget about your community ancestors as well. We are divine as Black Americans as well. Erica says me is pulling a gentle reminder oracle card and check my weather forecast. That's how I start my day. After work, being off social media right now is spending time with my ancestors, known as Ubuntu, and creating my business rebrand. Yes. Being off social media is like crucial to mental health. Like when I was at the getaway house, you know, out there it's just quiet, no nothing, no tech, no nothing. And when I got back, I was like, damn, I want to feel that peaceful again. And it was like, you can just turn your phone off, Michaela. So I try to do that. If I don't do it every night, I try to do that at least once a week. For me, I slept the last 4 months before I could get my job. I'm a 6-2 reflector. Oh, non-sacral beings. I'm here with you. Okay, dope, Monet. Oh yeah, she posted the Old Testament astrology book, and I'm gonna try to find the digital download to that because I have it somewhere, and I'm gonna post it in a group as well. Okay, cool. Lots of projectors, lots of manifestors. One thing I started doing for when I sleep is having multiple tabs open on my laptop, play a frequency on one, affirmations on the other, and I love some thunderstorms. I literally go to sleep with thunderstorms all the time. I got high frequency playing right now. I don't know if y'all can hear it. All right, Shalana girl.
Hey y'all. So, this one was like, there was a lot to unpack, and you did your very best to just like keep it short and sweet. But in truth, this is like reminds me of why they say women submit to your husbands and men love your wives as God loved the church. Because if women are we're doing all of these things that were discussed in Proverbs, it's all gonna work itself out anyway. Like she said, the devil workshop. I mean, itemize the devil's workshop. Honestly, as a wife, I can clearly say the longer you can sit in yourself and think, you will start to feel your little blood boiling like this motherfucker left this shit out. And then the kids did this, and then it turns into very toxic energy. But if you stay busy pouring love into yourself, first and foremost, well, actually pouring love into God, because that's going to power everything. Because the strength that God will provide you, you won't even understand how you're making it through your day. Like I literally run on faith 24/7. And Michaela, you know, me and her go back
You
and
got
forth,
that,
but I
you got
literally
that
run
water
on faith.
sign thing going on.
Yeah, I'm like inhuman. Like people who have like anyone who knows me personally, that they don't understand how I balance like a family of 5 and 40-hour work week and a side job and readings and. But it's because God will power you through everything. So if you're loving God and you're pouring into God, God is going to pour into you, and that love is going to overflow into your family. And that goes back into that initial Bible study that we did on Psalms 23 about your cup overflowing. Your cup will be so full that you'll have more to give to others. And if you're staying busy in love and in those practices of love, you become a human altar, and you're constantly sacrificing self to give the ultimate expression of love to yourself, to God, to your family, and to your husband, and it radiates. And then if you become worthy of praise. So it really does come full circle. And for anyone who was saying, well, what about if my husband is this? What about my husband is abusive? Believe me, the same rules apply, because when you heal, your whole family heals. You are able to see the darkness and help somebody come to the light. So whatever you're going through, y'all, just have faith and put and leave it with God, because he'll give you the strength to empower yourself. And I don't even like to say his, because I like to leave God gender ambiguous. But give it to God, and I promise you'll have the strength to move mountains, because faith is a mustard seed, will move mountains, and God is telling you that. These are God's promises. I ain't make this up. This is what God is telling you. And I'll tell you right now, I never would have made it.
Okay.
Okay, that's it. That's my 2 cents. Y'all can cash out that.
Thank you, girl. Yeah, you Shalana always got to give the wife and mama input, because of course Proverbs 31 is talk about a virtuous wife, right? I ain't no wife yet. I ain't got no kids. So I love having her input too, because she lived this life, okay? And even just to touch on like the pronouns, just as like a sidebar, I just want to remind you guys that people make gods in their image, right? We all make gods in our image. And so of course, God of the Bible was given masculine pronouns, because for centuries men were considered, we're living in patriarchy right now. It's kind of dismantling, and we're seeing shifts, and Pluto about to go in Aquarius, and the divine feminine is rising, and I can go real deep on that. But that's why we're starting to see a shift in even the way people worship. We got Saturn and Pisces right now. People are restructuring how they believe. And so a lot of times when I reference God, I'll use different names interchangeably: God, the creator, the most high, blah, 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 he, she, they, it, spirit, like whatever, but it's all the same energy. So try not to think too deep on the pronouns. I know a lot of you guys have said that you reject the idea of some man in the sky, and I was like that too. So just try not to think too deep, on the pronouns. Angela says, I never thought about calling on communal ancestors, but I love that. I need to start doing that as well. Yes, I've been talking about this for literally like the past 2 months. I've been having a lot of experience with them coming to my dreams and saying that, and literally they said like the old gods are mad. The old gods are mad. I've been getting that same message over and over. So even just taking a day to read something about them, give honor to them, share their story, that's going to give a lot more power to them than, of course, make the altar, like whatever. But the more you talk about them and share their story and embrace their their teachings, that's what gives them power. That's what's going to get us through this next shift. We're about to see a lot of upheavals in society. We're about to see a lot of revolts, a lot of revolutions, a lot of overthrowing the government. So just be ready. I don't say this to scare you, but I'm just saying this to make sure you're prepared for where society is going as a whole. Go ahead, Mallory.
Hey everybody.
You at
Um,
Saki.
my voice is struggling a little bit, but I just want to say when we got to the part of the scripture that said her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also when he praiseth her, and the part that says give her of the fruit of her hands and let her own words praise her in the gates,
Mm-hmm.
that it just made me think about, this is stretching a little bit, but personally, it made me think about the creativity that is required of a mother and a wife sometimes to problem solve. You know, when you have children, you have a man, you got different personalities that you're dealing with. Sometimes it takes a creative mind and a creative psychology to, you know, come up with your wise approach to
Right.
things. So give her of the fruit of her hands and let her own works praise her in the gates. To me, it's like I resonate with that. It's a prayer that I have for myself right now, asking the creator to let my creativity, when I, you know, use my psychology and my child's psychology to handle my children, to let it bless me, let it bless them, let it bless me. You know, it says hands, but I'm thinking more, you know, just
Yeah.
being a creative person, being a creative person, even a creative mind, you
Yeah.
know, and handling my children with creativity, not just, you know, limiting them, but them being able to reap the benefit of that.
Yes, remaining innovative. That's actually a really dope observation. Thank you, Mallory. Because if we think of going back to astrology, the sign of Leo, right? And how I referenced Leo with you know, how you present yourself, presenting yourself as royalty. Leo is also, it also rules self-expression, but it also rules children. And creations, creativity, right? So these all fall under that realm of self-expression and how you provide, how you use your self-expression to provide to the push the elevation, innovation of society, right? Opposite Aquarius. And so that's a really dope perspective. I love that you shared that. Thank you so much. You absolutely have to be creative in your approach to how you problem solve, how you solve conflict, how you get yourselves out of hard situations. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate right now. Sometimes we get through stuff. I know me, I be like, I don't know how, and I don't got no kids, but I don't know how I got through that. Like if y'all definitely go back and watch the Job Bible study. That one was really good. And we kind of talked about like literally having to move and live in faith. Because when you are stripped of resources, and that's kind of what Saturn and Pisces is showing us right now, when you're stripped of resources, what do you really believe? What are you really doing this for? So super dope. Thank you for adding that. Let's see, what else y'all talk about in this chat? I cannot talk today. Never would have made it. Yep, welcome to the Age of Aquarius. We are the midwives of the next timeline. Yes, but it's up to us to make sure that we are standing in that truth and speaking out on what we believe in, even if we don't agree with how society is headed. You know, there are a lot of things that are about to come up, a lot of freedoms that people are about to, you know, try to make normal, even down to tech, like tech advances. If you don't believe, or even down to what we're really about to see too is like changes in relationships, changes in marriage, and specifically like multiple people living in the same household, polygamous relationships coming up. Listen, I'm very open-minded. I have an Aquarius stellium. I'm very open-minded. However, we also need the opposite side of the spectrum. We don't need these extremes. Pluto also rules extremes. Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto in Capricorn is dismantling structures. Pluto in Aquarius is going to be innovating new structures. So we also need people who are like, wait, but there's nothing wrong with traditional marriage. There's nothing wrong with, you know, traditional ways of living. There's nothing wrong with knowing how to change a tire without fucking Google. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking at this point, but y'all get what I'm saying. We need both sides of the coin to maintain balance. And that's how we align with communities, Aquarius rules community as well. You know, that's how we align with communities that fit how we see the vision of the future, but get clear on what you see the future. What's your ideal version of the future that you want your children to live in, your future generations to live in? Let's see. Linnea says, also the rest thing, just because you are resting does not mean you're not being productive. To be a good wife and spouse, you have to take care of yourself and everything will fall behind. Absolutely. You can't take care of nobody if you dead. Okay? And listen, just like a job will replace you, that nigga will move on. I'm just being real. People move on, life goes on. So it's like, who's gonna care about you more than you? Ree says, yo, my daughter has been talking about Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman lately. I say that to say it's wild mentioning ancestors, and I'm gonna keep talking about it. We need them. I don't know why everybody is always looking outside of our culture as if our culture is not enough. There are some godly, divine beings in our ancestry collectively here in America. You know, it's cool to look to other lands and their gods and, you know, their teachings as well, but don't forget to venerate your own spirits. We are just as divine. Just got out of my Job years last year. Girl, I feel like I just ended mine too. Angela says, honestly, just thinking personally, I have just lost my two matriarchs of my life, both my grandmothers 4 months ago and 2 days ago, and I've been working on my divine femininity. I'm grateful for this group in this meeting. I think this is a great discussion, really a sign that I'm on the right track. First of all, condolences. I'm so happy you're finding some kind of, you know, empowerment and resonance within this group. That's exactly what I wanted. And, you know, of course they're gone physically, but they live through you. They have so much, I'm sure they've shared so much wisdom with you. So, you know, their lessons on femininity, you know, of course, I'm an astrologer, so I'm gonna reference Venus, but we can also reference our parents. We can reference our elders, our mothers, our grandparents, you know, those are people who are examples of divine femininity, of virtuous wifehood, motherhood, you know, those are examples in our lives as well. But my absolute condolences. We're supposed to learn that balance is never easy, but necessary. Libra moon coming in. Okay, girl. Her children call her blessed. Sometimes they never know how we struggle. They just know they are and had gifts under the tree. We don't know how we do it, but it gets done. That creativity, that faith. Harriet Tubman is working with me closely. I've been a community advocate for the past 12 years. Since I was in college with Harriet, MLK, X, Tupac, they're saving me. Please share your insights in the group. Like, I love stuff like this. You know, I don't know all the community ancestors, you know, so please feel free. Like I said, I've been working closely with Malcolm X. Like he's been my dog. Like in my dreams, he just be coming to me, he be talking to me, like we be here. But I'm trying to get more into the other ones as well. Did you guys have any more questions, any more input? I don't want to take too much of you guys' time. I know it's Wednesday. I know you guys have stuff to do, work tomorrow, and I don't know like what time zones you guys are in, but any more questions, comments? Linnea said, why you so fine? No, thanks, girl. Glamour Magic Fridays. I'm going live every Friday at 2 p.m. EST, just on Facebook Live. You know, we do a little chit chat while I'm doing my makeup, like giving makeup tips. I think this Friday, we're going to do like eyeshadow. So it's fun. We have a good time in there. If you guys want to join, you can look as fine as me. I'm just
You
kidding.
had me at eyeshadow.
Huh?
You had me at eyeshadow. That's
Come on, girl.
literally
I think we're doing cut creases. Last week, someone asked if I could teach cut creases, so I'll do that for you guys. Asaru said, you sisters are a breath of fresh air. Thank you so much. Listen, I really pride myself on creating a team in a space that people feel comfortable being in, you know, feel like they can talk about their spiritual journey and grow. We could grow, elevate together. Guys, the internet is just as much of a community as real life is. So, you know, connect with people in your area as well. We want to get this offline at some point. I'm working on some events if you guys are near Charlotte, North Carolina, and hopefully around the country. We're going to dream big, but I really want to do some events, nothing too crazy, nothing too woo-woo. I just want us all to go out and have a great time and just connect and form relationships in real life, because that's going to be so crucial for this next stage. Okay.
come on over to Portland,
in
Oregon.
Baptist
Come
church
to-
fashion. I'm gonna send them offering plates around virtually. If you can, bless my love, even if it's just an energetic exchange that doesn't always, donations don't always have to be monetary. They can be energetically. Share these videos, share the page, create a community network, tell a friend to tell a friend, go tell your friends about it. Tune in. We're always dropping gems for the collective. We love y'all. We pour into y'all because we understand that, without the collective, where would any of us individually be? So we do this strictly out of our hearts. We're not looking for no come up because we are the come up. No, I'm just playing.
No, I really do heal
but
through
for
you
real,
guys. Thank you.
it's a blessing to be a blessing. So in any way that you can, please do, and that will kind of just continue to piggyback and grow our vision to continue to help everyone. So each one teach one. We love y'all.
Thank you. Just a few reminders, guys. All of the replays for the workshops, for the live Bible studies are on giftfromneptune.com, as well as the past workshops we've done. Check that out. The hub is free. The membership hub is free. You just got to sign up. Also, the Crown of Success rituals tomorrow with the new moon in Capricorn. So if you guys want more information on joining that, the information is on my page, Michaela Rose. I'll share it to the group again as well. And yeah, thank you so much, you guys, for joining today's Bible study. We had a big turnout today, 60 people. I think it said 61 when it was the highest amount that was in here. So that's super dope. I'm going to upload this to YouTube, and I'll link it in a group. And let's continue this conversation, please. You know, I love talking to you guys. And, you know, of course, keep it respectful, but share your insight. And, you know, we'll talk again soon. I'm going to try to do these every Wednesday. Don't hold me to that, but I'm going to try to do these every Wednesday. And I hope y'all have an amazing night, okay? Bye.
Thank you. Bye.